these are portraits.
Yeah.
These are portraits of these things, and I'm trying to capture, just like with portraits of people, I'm trying to capture that tangible thing that says this is John Hardy. To what the color of his hair, the color of his eyes, to the distance from the tip of his nose to his eyes. Those are all definable things, and I guess there's always a little pathos in these things, a little remorse, a little regret, and that maybe that's my crutch when I'm doing this, but they're portraits. Wait till you see this. There he is, the man of the hour. We're gonna, thanks for coming out to see Jason's show. I just want to say one thing before. It's not going to come down till the 29th of February, so if you have anyone in town that you want to see it until the 29th, a special request from the universe for it to end on leap year. We figured that it only comes around so often, and it's a special exhibit, so we'll end it on a special day. So it'll be up till the 29th. How can I keep from singing? I didn't tell Jason this, but 2 weeks ago, a couple from Berkeley, California, all the way from Berkeley, climbed down out of the oak trees and came out to Rowan Oak, and they started singing in the gallery, started singing the hymn. Isn't that sweet? Isn't that sweet story? But they really did. And I said, I just wish Jason was here to see that. All right.
Why don't you lead the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, you lead the way. Or you can address them from the top of the stairs.
Oh, that would be fun. The reason why I've gathered you all here today is to reveal who actually murdered. Wouldn't this be a great place to hold a murder mystery? There's your fundraiser, friends. The fundraiser. No, I thank y'all so much for coming. This is sort of like this is like when people say to you, do you have pictures of your children? And you say, well, here's my wallet. So this is what this is like for me. I think for artists, the paintings that they paint or the things that they create are sort of like their children. And all of these paintings, after they got finished on the easel, they went straight to the studio floor and stacked against walls without frames around them. And I think everybody likes to see their children in their Sunday best every once in a while. I was looking for an opportunity like this for a long time. And the gallery upstairs, if you haven't been up there, is just a really sweet space. It's small, it's intimate, it's humble. And so visitors to the house don't know that it's there. It's not advertised, there's no marquee or anything like that. So this has been something that I've really wanted. And when I saw that Bill had this space, I sort of approached him about doing this, and he was gracious enough to say yes, because these paintings are really near and dear to me, and they're not things that I show. And like you said, I said they didn't have frames on them, and Bill gave me carte blanche to do whatever I wanted. And then Robert followed that up with Melanie Munns, who Got student workers in here, and Bill let his student interns help. And this is the first show I've ever had that's actually had explanatory gallery labels, which is really cool. And I don't know if that's a big deal to an artist to actually have something that explains something about the show. I don't know how much you want to know about it. I've got a lot of things to say about it, but I think people would just sort of come on up. But thank you all for coming out. I appreciate it. It's really tight in here, and as you look around, what you might notice is that all the subject matter is deceased, and on the surface, the prospect of such grim subject matter might make one think that this show is about death, but really is only using death to look at life. Well, what a wonderful artist kind of thing to say. But in all honesty, I make my living as a commissioned portrait artist. So what I do during the week, 9 to 5, is paint for other people their ideas. I want you to paint my husband. I want you to paint this judge or this university president, something like that. But I need to balance that out with painting things without any audience in mind, or without any thoughts in mind. And so on the weekends, I largely paint for myself, landscapes and still lifes. By happenstance, I came across a dead chickadee one time, and he just seemed so perfect in his death and so beautiful that I just wanted to sort of just record him. And then another time later, Kay Kroom, who's here, gave me a bouquet of flowers. And she said, you should paint this. And I said, yeah, I should. But I had to fulfill the role of painting commissioned portraits. And before I knew it, the bouquet had died. And then I forgot about it. And 10 days later, I looked over and the water was all green. And the flowers were all just really faded. And I thought, wow, it's just as beautiful in death as it was in life. And so I painted that. And I kept on... These things kept on coming across my doorstep. The cat dragged in a bird or a mouse over there, and I didn't realize it until I painted several of these. But what I was doing was I was giving these things a wake, a funeral, an elegy or a eulogy. That's the title of the show, and it's just an elegy that's in visual terms rather than in verbs and words. And so the show is about all these things are about the corporal necessity of life. I think that we're made up of two types of beings. We're made up of this physical being that we hug and we touch and we sniff and we eat and we taste. But the other side of that is that intangible being. That's that spiritual side. That's the personality. And the way we're created, you can't have one without the other. You can't walk in this world without using the physical side of your body, and you can't walk in this world without using the metaphysical side of your body, the spiritual side of your body. And in the point of death, of course, the spirit leaves, and all that's left is the physical side. I grew up as a Presbyterian in a small church, and it was hit on me by several preachers that I was to be suspect of the physical nature of my body, and I was to deny that aspect in various ways, from dancing to drinking to other things that we shall not mention right now. But it's that physical side that I wanted to celebrate. It's that vessel that I wanted to celebrate that is so necessary for all of this. And we do that for ourselves. We do that when we die. We hold a funeral. We gather everybody together and we honor the body, we put it in a nice casket, and we send it on its way, we put it down on the earth. But none of these things here had anybody to do that for. And it just happened that I came upon these things, or they came into my path, and I wanted to do that. It's not necessarily a mission or anything, and I'm not morose, and I don't dwell on death all the time, but that's what most of this is about. So I hope it's not too grim in that sense, but that's pretty much what the show is about. And Alicia wrote these these words as introductory text. And I think they do a great job of trying to get at what I've been trying to say. So anyway, all right, that's it. Until next time, I'll have something else to say. I always have something to say.
If you wish, in the future, let's do this again. It's been brilliant and evocative for visitors and really augmenting. People are very surprised, as you've noted, to find this gallery here. Even long-term visitors are surprised. So I think it's added to the house immensely.
Well, it doesn't really relate to the house very much, but I think it's okay.
It is okay. It's more than okay. Yeah, I don't think everything that shows in here has to be Rowan Oak themed.
You know, I always feel like there's something elegiac about a house museum that's associated with an individual.
Yeah, yeah, oh, it is. Oh, this is.
So
Oh
it's,
my gosh, especially with all our furnishings in it and everything, it's just a memorial.
Yeah.
To,
so I think
very
it
deep way.
really does have a lot to do with this
Well,
place.
yeah, but
Good point.
you can't point to any literary references, which I think that would be what we would want. Is,
Well, you
I-
can.
That's not the only dead rabbit in here. You see the one that
no, one that's
son,
mounted.
the stepson Malcolm
Mounted.
Cowley mounted
Yeah,
and
yeah.
truck 25 years before William died.
Yeah.
Tell the story of that one again. I liked it so much. I'd like to hear it.
Well, that was on a cold January night, and I was coming home from Jackson between Menor City and Holcomb.
Did you hit it?
That's the only thing I've killed in this room. And he and I were the only things on that road that night. And I said, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it when I saw his eyes, you know. And of course he ran out and I had to stop. I stopped the car. I had to go back and check and make sure he was fully dead.
Right.
And when I saw him, I could feel his spirit sort of coming out. And I was just leaving him, and there was this vessel there. And there was big empty space. There are no cars on the road, and it's the beginnings of the delta there. And I mean, just sky and everything, and it's so lonely and cold. And I said, "Little fella, I'm going to give you a wake."
He's beautiful too.
Well, I hope so, and I hope I'm not opportunistic. That's the guilty thing that I feel about some of these, is that, you know, I feel like I'm sort of taking advantage of it, and that's one reason why I want to show them. But that's why this show has been I've told you, it's been an anti-show. It has not been reviewed. It has not been in any newspaper. It hasn't been on a website. It hasn't been a part of anything. And I've sort of intended for it, but I haven't courted that. I wanted it to be an afterthought. I wanted it to be more private in nature. And then the vestibule is here. This is the sanctuary. That's the vestibule. This is where you shed the world. This was something I wanted to do for me, and I mean, they're, you know, like I was talking about before. So icon painters, you know, Eastern Orthodox icon painters, you paint a traditional matter. You don't try to change the subject matter is more important than the artist.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea behind writing an icon. The subject matter is the most important thing. So you do it the way it's been done for centuries and centuries. You don't add anything. You don't subtract anything. You just do it. You transmit. You continue. You preach what has been preached before. And that's sort of that really resonates with me, because I don't sign anything. Signatures are not on part of these things.
Yeah,
They're on the back if there's some sort of explanatory note or a signature. The idea here is to translate as faithfully visually as I can, but hopefully with some sort of sense of poetry and life. Like with the rabbit, there's a line, the red line here, and the blue line, and the green line.
Yeah.
Or hopefully to make it stand out, to pop it out more. There's a red line here. So it's not an exact literal translation. It's not a rendering. I don't want it to be a rendering. I want it to be more than a rendering.
This is so fascinating when you think of the grove of trees at your family home and then this tree in the studio.
My daddy died in November, And then right at the beginning of December, this tornado or quasi-tornado came through the Delta, and it came through our yard, and it took out about 20 trees, and this was one of them. And so I painted it, and it was sort of a, at the time I didn't think about it like a lot of these, but I go back on it and think about how it was emblematic of my sturdy con of my daddy breaking, being gone, and that's his studio in the background. And being meditative, I didn't set out to do that, but in a way, looking back on it, it was.